It's time for Larry Knows Sports. My guest tonight, he is a contributor to SI.com and the Posting and Toasting Knicks blog. He also co-hosts the Locked On Knicks podcast. Alex Wolfe. And I'm your host, Larry the Athlete. Bang! Alex, thank you for joining me.
Of course, Larry. Damn, I need to work on my intro skills.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I went to 12 years of theater school in between my sports programs.
Nice. Yeah, I could tell, man. I could tell.
Yep. Got to be a sports entertainer, not just a sports athlete.
Yeah. Hey, you're like The Rock, man.
Yeah,
Number
exactly.
one man in sports and entertainment.
Number one grossing actor in all of Hollywood.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah. Definitely. I could see it. I can see the look. I see the vision.
Yeah, you think? Yeah. Yeah, I'll show off the guns and everything later. So how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How's your quarantine going?
It's going pretty good. Coming here live from my bedroom. My wife can't go to the gym anymore, so she's currently hosting a Les Mills class in the living room with herself and the people in the TV that are teaching it to her.
Yeah, she's hosting it.
No, she's not actually
she's
hosting.
Doing it remote. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a video thing, but it's just like the class she does at the gym or whatever. Otherwise, I've been working like freelance and stuff mostly for the last like year. I haven't had an office job, so I'm pretty much just status quo. So
yeah, working from home's natural for you.
I feel like I doomsday prepped for this already. I'm good to go.
Yeah, I'm prepped for it. I set up a basketball net in my studio. Working on my dunks in between recording sessions.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah,
I got one right over my garbage can. A little Mets hoop. I don't know why it's a Mets hoop, not a Knicks one, but I do some dunks on that.
Yeah,
shoot some threes from across the room. After I blow my nose, it works out pretty good.
That sounds pretty good. So, it looks like the NBA season may not finish. It's probably that's going to be the case at this point.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So in some ways, it's the off season. Do you want to discuss Knicks plans for the off season?
Sure. I mean, for the Knicks, it was the off season. What, January?
I suppose that's kind of true. I mean, we never had any playoff hopes, but there was always the ups and downs of like who's getting playing time, what's going on with Frank, what's going on with the coaching, everything like that.
It's really funny, if I may, quick, it's very funny that, I found myself, especially with Locked On Knicks, like we're generally during the season, we're expected to do 4 to 5 episodes a week.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And it gets to be a slog after a while. And I remember during the season, I'm just like, God, can this just be over? Like I'm ready for the off season, like blah, blah, blah. And then, we only lose out on the last, 15, 16 games. And I'm like, I'm already like, God damn it, man. I wish we could have finished the season. Like, this is frustrating. I want basketball back.
I know. I would.
Because you know what? Basketball life goes on otherwise. When the next season ends, normally it's like, okay, now I get to watch the playoffs.
Now I get to watch some
basketball.
Actually good teams.
And I don't have to hyper analyze every little, Kevin Knox dribble.
Right.
Or whatever, so there's more stuff to enjoy after the Knicks season. Now it's like the Knicks season ended, but everything ended, and there's no baseball either, and there's no football stuff other than free agency. There's no anything. I would even watch hockey at this point. That's how desperate I am.
Yeah, I actually I usually don't really watch much college basketball during the season, but for some reason this year I was watching a little bit more as it got to the tournament, saying, I would rather know who these players are, and then nothing.
Yeah,
all that time's a waste.
I love the tournament too, and I love the conference tourneys, and of course it gets called off right as those are just starting. So we didn't even get conference tournaments, right before everything got called off. But in reality, they probably still called it off too late. We probably shouldn't have used those first couple games. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk Knicks. I'm gonna go through the players currently on the roster, from I think easiest decision to trickier decision. So just first, there's 3 guys that they're just kind of no-brainers. Will be there. There's no option to exercise or anything like that. That's RJ, Mitch, and Iggy. Right?
Yeah.
It sound good so far?
Yeah, sounds great. I would absolutely bring all three of them over.
Yeah.
Especially for RJ and Mitch, don't even entertain offers really. Like just keep them. They're value deals right now.
Oh, please. I hope they are not entertaining offers. Yeah.
You never know. But.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what Leon Rose wants to do? I really hope they didn't bring him in with because he would be better at enticing free agents to sign here, even though that would be great. But if that's their hope and not rebuilding,
at least not this summer.
Yeah,
don't try to lure anybody this summer. Nobody's worth luring. You know? It's like you're putting out a bunch of bait for a bunch of little guppies. When big fish are next summer. So
right. Keep that cap flexibility.
Yeah.
All right. So Bobby Portis, I think he has a full club option. I guess he's an easy don't exercise.
Yeah, he's I think he has like $1 million or $2 million guaranteed out of his 15. They made it like it's like team options on those contracts, but they're not quite a regular team option. It's like a non-guaranteed year or whatever.
Right.
I think he gets $1 million or something. My suggestion for him, this might be kind of a hot take.
Okay.
I would decline his option, or whatever, like buy him out for his money. But then I would maybe re-sign him at a smaller cap figure if you can. If he chases more money elsewhere, then let him take it. But
yeah, absolutely.
There
are a few
$7
guys.
million, something like that. 1 + 1, $7 million, something like that. I'd be down.
7. I mean, 7 sounds high for a Bobby Portis player, but
does it though? I mean, think about what he was offering the team down the stretch of the season.
He definitely improved towards the ends.
Yeah. So if he can give you more of that player, and less of the guy that chucks all the time. I mean, granted, he chucked sometimes down the stretch, but he was shooting so well. You just like really when you look at it, $7 or $8 million isn't that much anymore. It's that's less than 8% of the cap, which granted the cap might go down because of this Corona situation. Nobody really knows yet. But even if the cap goes back down to like 100 million instead of 110, it's still only like 7% of your cap, and you have if you did the full roster math, I mean you have 15 regular roster spots that take salary. Usually at least 3 of those are rookie minimum or veterans minimum players that only take up 1 to 2% of the cap. So 7% is like a decent role player. I think that's fair money for him.
Yeah, that sounds like good analysis. And you got to fill up your cap with something. And you got to fill. Yeah,
you got to hit the floor. I mean, you don't have to hit the floor. If you don't, then you just have to distribute the rest amongst all the rest of the players. But most teams like to hit that salary floor, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the Knicks' overall strategy when they didn't get Kyrie and KD was to just like surround the young players with veterans. It was overall a good idea, but I think it just didn't really work well. The veterans were too front and center in the rotation. But I think that's the idea for next year. Get some veterans in there, but make the young players the front and center part of the rotation.
I would sure hope so. I mean, it certainly seemed like we were trending that way right before the season got cut short.
Yeah.
More Frank Ntilikina minutes, more Mitchell Robinson. RJ Barrett was getting lots of playtime, lots of featured playtime. So I think that's the direction that Rose was going before, that he had sort of instilled in there. But usually we had to wait till next year. But this offseason should be pretty telling. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely should be. Okay. Next one. I think this is similar to Bobby Portis, Mo Harkless. Similar in that, well, he's an unrestricted free agent, so there's really nothing to do. But I would also bring him back for a small 1-year salary.
Sure. Yeah, I probably would. He's an unrestricted. I get the feeling that he might chase a ring somewhere. I think based off comments that he made down the stretch of the season, it seemed like he was being a good soldier and being like, yes, I'll be a New York Knick. Like I'm here to be a Knick. I'm not going to have my eyes on something else. But, it was pretty clear that once he came from the Clippers, who had title aspirations, to the Knicks, who had aspirations of another lottery pick, he wasn't too excited about that. So I think I think he'll probably look to move to greener pastures. But if he's willing to come back on a 1-year deal, him I'd maybe offer like $5 million, something like that. I'd probably bring him back.
Again, if he wants to go to greener pastures, go for it. The next one is Reggie Bullock. He's on a low 4.2 million with 1 million guaranteed. I think you keep him, guarantee the full thing.
He's maybe the most no-brainer of all the guys to me. Bring him back because it's a value contract, and you know, if he just plays as well as you know that he can play, he's gonna, you know, he'll play up to that value, and you know, if nothing else, it'd be a great trade chip. Like teams are always looking for cheap shooting, you know, around the deadline, and he's like,
he's going to be very cheap shooting.
Yeah, if he can shoot 36% from three, something like that, you know, even if he doesn't hit his highest highs of like, I think he shot like 44% one year or something from three. It was pretty impressive. But even if he doesn't hit his highest highs like that and only hits like, you know, 36%, 37%, you know, just a little above league average, that's good enough to entice some team to give up a second.
Still a rotation player could get something for him. And he's a good rotation player to have around next year for the Knicks.
Of course.
Taj, he's 9.45 million, 1 million guaranteed next year.
Similar deal to Bobby. I think I would decline him and try to sign him for a lower figure, but I would like to keep him around. If the only way to keep him around is to pick up that option, if he says, if you decline me, I'm gone, I'd probably pick it up. I find his presence to be that valuable. And it's clear from the role that he played towards the end of the season, where he was just basically a token starter that would play 12 minutes a game, that he doesn't care about role. You know, it's not going to bother him. So yeah, I definitely bring him back. He seems like a good mentor for Mitch. You know, Mitch seems to enjoy him.
Yeah, absolutely. And he seems like one of the only veterans that kind of worked out in what we were hoping for as like a complimentary piece.
He's like the one guy that came as advertised. Same with Morris, you could argue.
Yeah, sure.
But both those guys, I think, were exactly what was advertised, you know, and about as good as you could have expected.
Yeah, and Morris was like a last minute thing that kind of fell into our laps. So.
Yeah, and that looks really good for the Knicks now, man. I mean, he stunk it up once they traded him. So.
And not just that, now there may be no playoffs this season anyway.
Yeah. If that happens, then the Knicks really made out like crazy. But, you know, even if there is a playoffs and he gets to play for them and whatever, like, just the Knicks finally sold high on somebody for once.
Yeah, they made the normal smart GM move.
Yeah, exactly. And probably got themselves, I mean, it's underrated. Like, I feel like people haven't been discussing this that much, but they not only got themselves another first-round pick this year, but the Pistons are going to be pretty bad, you know, going forward now. They traded Drummond and Blake Griffin can never stay on the court. And that's the other pick that they got back, was the Pistons 2021 second rounder.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
That means that the Knicks next year in the 2021 draft, that's supposed to be one of the deepest drafts in like forever.
Oh, yeah.
And if the NCAA changes the rules and allows players that missed all the tournaments this year to come back for like a fifth year, you know, say like Miles Powell, Seton Hall, or some of these, you know, some of these other guys that were 4-year players that maybe still want their last shot at a championship and don't mind spending another year in college, because like Powell's ceiling is only a second rounder anyway, probably. Right. You know, then you have a position where you could potentially have a draft that was really deep that now just got a whole bunch of fifth-year seniors injected into it as well, and could end up being, you know, the Knicks having 4 picks in like the top 40-ish of a draft that's that deep, which is pretty fantastic.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah, I was thinking about Miles Powell. Like, feel so bad for him that he wasn't going to get to play his last tournament on a good team.
I know. I love Miles Powell, to be honest. He's so for I don't know, some people know this from what I've talked about on Locked On Knicks or whatever from time to time, but I used to, when I got out of college, I covered high school sports in New Jersey and mostly in the Trenton area, like the Trenton Times area. And he went to Trenton Catholic High School with Malachi Richardson, who went to Syracuse and was a one and done there. And I think he's playing in Europe now.
Wasn't he like drafted by the Kings or something like that?
He was drafted by the Kings and he was traded to the Raptors, and he played on like the Raptors 905 G League team for a while. Never really cracked it with the big Raptors.
Yeah.
And then I think last year they let him go and he went to Europe. But I covered Powell, and he's sort of like the last high school player that I covered when he was in high school. So I've got like a little attachment to him. I would love if the Knicks somehow would draft him, because I think he could be pretty good in the league. Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing like Jalen Brunson on Dallas. Like, you draft a 4th-year player and they don't have that growing curve.
Yeah, and like, you know, I think he's an undersized 2 guard, but you know, some of those guys exist in the NBA and still manage to have, you know, decent enough careers. And find a way. I mean, even on a college court, he looks undersized and like he's not athletic enough or whatever, yet he constantly finds ways to get a shot off. So I feel like he could do that at any level.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to have him around. So nice having those second rounders.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, next player. Oh, Otson. Is this correct that he's a restricted free agent with qualifying offer of about $2 million?
Yeah. I mean, you definitely extend the qualifying offer.
Yeah.
I think I have this conspiracy theory that the Knicks were trying to dampen his value down the stretch of the season.
So that he would take the offer, or?
Well, so not so that you would take. So the qualifying offer you essentially just extend just to be like, if worse comes to worse, you can sign this and play for 1 year and then you're an unrestricted free agent next year. But it also, by extending that offer, that then makes them a restricted free agent where you can match any offer that any other team puts forth. So I think they were trying to kind of repress his value a little bit and keep him cheap because I think they want to re-sign him to an affordable team contract. And,
I would love to have him back.
I would love to have him back too. I wouldn't say I'd move heaven and earth for him, but I would certainly like give him a good offer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I would maybe even go as far as like 8 to 10 million a season for him, I think.
For like 2 or 3 years or
for like 3 years, something like that. 3 years, 24 million, something like that. Maybe slightly less if you can swing it. And I mean, I think that's what they're hoping for.
Yeah, I can't. It's hard to see another team paying $8 million a year for him.
Yeah, it is.
Even though I think he's great.
Some team always surprises you. Yeah. And he has shown flashes of like this really good 3-and-D player, which is extremely valuable in the NBA. Rebounds really well for a guy that's like 6'5", 6'6". So definitely a guy I want to keep around though.
Yeah, he's incredible, and sad that he didn't play much this year.
Yeah, of course.
Trier, he has a $4.5 million qualifying offer. So I think you just don't extend him. Just don't extend the offer and just see what happens.
I would extend the offer.
Okay.
But I would let him set his market, and if some team lowballs him and that's all he gets, maybe I'd match him, just to maybe make him a trade chip or something at some point.
Yeah.
That's about it though. Like because if there was a trade market for him, I think he would have been gone this trade deadline, because he's on a $3 million contract or whatever.
Right. With this restricted free agency the following year.
Yeah. Which is pretty valuable for a young player. So I would extend the qualifying offer. I think that's just good business usually to extend that.
That's true. Yeah. Take care of your guys.
Yeah, well, and not just take care of him, but like, if his market dries up, he can accept that. And then you got him for 1 more year. Maybe you try to play him a little bit. Worst comes to worst, it's a guy making barely anything.
Yeah.
Sitting on the end of your bench, and pretty much just what it was this year. So I would extend the offer. I would not offer him anything close to like what you would offer Dotson. And if it's some team was willing to pay him $4 or $5 million a year, I'd be like, okay, bye. Like on a multi-year contract, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah.
So I think he needs to change his scenery too, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Maybe to see that it's not just the Knicks holding him back, that it's kind of his own style of play.
And that he has to like learn to be a smart player.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. This one, I think, is the toughest one. Elfrid Payton. So $8 million.
Yeah.
$1 million guaranteed.
Mm-hmm. I cut him and don't look back.
Okay.
I don't think it's that tough, to be completely honest.
Really?
For me, at least.
It's tough for me. I don't want him on the team next year. I want the point guard job to be either like belong to both Frank and the draft pick or just Frank and some veteran. Who knows? I feel like Elfrid Payton, he puts up numbers, and even including steals. He's like close to a triple-double when he plays, which I know is more of just like empty calories in a lot of ways. But I don't know. Do you think another team would want to trade for him at that $8 million price?
I doubt it.
You doubt it.
That's the main thing. Yeah, I mean, he's been moved a couple times in his career, but I guess you could examine the motivations of the front office this year. But like, I feel like, again, if a deal came along and knocked you out, like it did with Morris, Scott Perry was still in charge technically, even though Leon Rose was like 2 days into his tenure unofficially by the trade deadline. Or not even, was it like a day? It was like almost a day of that they announced that. But
Yeah.
at any rate, I just think that I don't think a team would pay for him, because I feel like if an offer of, say, a first round pick, like what they got for Morris, would have come around this year, he would have been gone for sure.
Yeah.
Which means, what are you going to get? Maybe a second round pick? Like, I don't
Right.
even think any team would do that. I think most teams would just be like, we could just spend money on someone else and we'll be fine. I also just think I want to just get him out of there. I want to finally clear the path for Frank, to have his moment to shine, along with whoever the Knicks draft. Hopefully, hopefully you get like a Melo Ball or a Killian, or even depending on where they would land, like Cole Anthony or something.
Right.
Hopefully you get a player like that that can maybe even play some 2-point guard lineup minutes with Frank, because we actually saw Frank and Alfred have some good 2-point guard chemistry right at the end of the season here. But then my other move would just be finally move Kadeem. Well, we're probably going to get to him in a moment, but it would just be finally move Kadeem Allen to the main roster.
I would like that too.
Then that's your 3-point guard rotation. And then you don't have to worry about Alfred Payton anymore and him sopping up minutes and having expectations of having playing time and stuff. You could just operate under a true, to use the old David Fizdaleism, you could operate under a true keep what you kill thing, where you have Frank, you're going to start, but if you don't play well, then we're going to bring, Killian in for you or whatever. And if Killian doesn't play well, then we're not afraid to start Kadeem Allen for a game, and we don't have to feel bad about that, because you guys are all like 22 years of age and younger. Except for Kadeem, who's like 27, but in NBA service time, he's only like a 4th-year player.
Yeah.
So just kind of operate that way.
It'd be so amazing to just like finally have a roster where we don't have these veterans we feel like we have to play.
Yeah, you don't want these obligations. And the thing is, like with Alfred too this year, it almost felt, if they weren't playing him, he would have been really pissed, and his agent would have been really pissed, because then you're looking at a situation where you're costing him money on his next contract. Because you sign him as 1+1. Starts to become obvious you're not going to pick up that second year, then he's like, well, I got to show out to earn my next contract. Teams have to still know that I can play, and that even though he hasn't really shown any improvement, it still doesn't look good to, not play him, when you signed him effectively to be your starter. So, I may have been overestimating his potential trade value. So I think if you could work out a deal between now and the guarantee date, great. Otherwise, sure. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. If you can do it like draft night or something, then do it. Then that's no.
But you would know in advance, so.
Yeah. Or exactly. Like it would be a deal that you make draft night, or someone gives you an inclination of like, hey, we like him at that price point. We think he's going to ask for more in free agency. We'll give you a 2nd-round pick to opt him in and trade him to us or whatever, just in the cap space. Then you say, okay, cool. But other than that, no, just cut him
and never think about it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Let's hope the front office goes in that direction.
They might be trying to trade for Chris Paul also, so you're going completely opposite direction from that.
Yeah, and then all we just said is just irrelevant.
Total moot point.
Alex, do you want to take some phone calls?
Sure.
Yeah, all right. Let's go to the phones right now. We have a 917-328 phone number. Caller, what's happening?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. Enjoying the program. I was wondering if you could give me the top 3 scenarios in which Dolan would sell the Knicks, the most likely scenario, and how can the good citizens of New York and New York City and fans of the Knicks leverage anything to make that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want real answers, or do you want fun fake answers?
I think we want real fun answers.
All right, because none of the real answers are very fun.
I want.
What do you want? Wait, who is this, by the way?
Real and fun is great. Definitely want at least one real one and 2 fun ones.
Okay, 1 real, 2 fun.
All right. Do you want me to just bang out all the real scenarios real quick?
Yeah.
They're all horrible, but it's literally going to have to be like, for him to get forced out, it's going to have to be like sexual assault, like, Epstein situation, like a Donald Sterling type thing where he's being openly racist to players, like which he's never shown any inclination of. Something along those lines. Those are the real ways that he's going to have to sell.
Something where the other NBA owners just like force him out.
Would have to step in and be like, you have to sell. You're active detriment to the whole league just by existing. Other than that, though, let's see.
How close are we to that right now, just by how he's running the Knicks?
I don't think that much. I don't know what his relationship is with other owners, but I doubt they would do it just for being a bad front office guy or for being a doofus, because pretty much every other owner is a billionaire doofus. Whether they
also in reality, the rest of the league probably loves him because he's a lightning rod. No, I'm serious.
That's true.
All the other problems of the NBA go away all the time because if Rachel Nichols can go on the jump and talk smack on James Dolan for 30 minutes, and on a slow news day, that's really good for the other teams because they don't have to live under a microscope. It's just the Knicks and Spike Lee's latest bullshit or whatever. It's a good situation for the rest of the owners in the NBA. I think they probably enjoy having this guy.
Probably
to be a punching bag for the media and whatever.
So some fun ones. Maybe Andrew Cuomo with the state of emergency, so he has more executive powers, could just use eminent domain to take the team away.
It's possible. We could. I'm trying to think. What would be another good funny scenario?
Construction around the arena. Just make a lot of dangerous manholes and scaffolding that could just injure him to the point where he just has to give up the team.
Maybe collectively Knicks fans could bribe a huge music festival like Coachella into booking JD and the Straight Shot as a headliner, and then Dolan would be like, well, it's finally taken off, my band is finally working, and I'm ready to pursue my music career and sell the Knicks and get out from under all this scrutiny. Maybe that
I think that's the best one. Tempt him with JD and the Straight Shots. At least that keeps him away from making decisions for the team.
It's his one weakness is JD and the Straight Shot.
Just give him a world tour.
Just kryptonite.
The fans should fund it.
Yes, exactly. We'll do a GoFundMe. Like, yes, we'll all be there. And then he could show up to the sold out houses and still it'll be empty. But, whatever. You got the gate money. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Micah, do you have any scenarios?
I really like the idea of hiring his band for as many things as possible with a GoFundMe. I think that actually might be the most likely outside of the one that you outlined.
Yeah. Outside of a very real, very tragic and awful scenario, that might be the funniest one we can come up with.
Yeah, because I don't think he wants to sell the team, so we're going to have to crowdfund a JD and the Straight Shots World Tour.
Mm-hmm. Knicks fans around the world unite. We know they're everywhere. So.
Yeah, and we know his band sucks. I'm sure it does. I've never actually heard it.
I have heard it. It do kind of suck. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yep. Talk to you later. We got another phone number. This is another 917-696. What's happening, caller?
Hello, Larry. I'm just calling to talk to you about the slander you're speaking against James Dolan.
Oh, who is this? Are you related to James Dolan?
My name is Miranda Dolan, but we're not really related. I'd like to think that we are, but I just feel a kinship with the man.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying about him is terrible. He's an excellent owner. It's not his fault that the team's not doing well. And Mr. Spike Lee clearly went in that wrong entrance.
That is true. Spike went into the wrong entrance, and I think felt entitled. You're very much on your own in defending James Dolan here. I
think I see something in him that everybody else should see, and I don't understand why they don't.
Oh, how long have you been obsessed with James Dolan? If you're not related, you must have somehow come across him and figured you wanted to be related.
I read an article about him in the Times about 8 years ago, and I was just smitten. I think he's a visionary. He's a sports visionary, and he has a massive ownership that just inspires me to no end. He's a symbol of New York and ingenuity and what you can do with money that you inherit. I think he's just a wonderful guy.
He is a symbol of what you could do if you inherit a lot of money. Like him and Donald Trump, I suppose. Just like what you could do if you can't achieve anything on your own, but you had a rich billionaire father.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I hope you someday.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. We should celebrate success and inheritance in America.
Celebrate inheritance in America.
Let's celebrate those old billionaires.
Yeah.
Old money.
We should.
Let's give a hand for old money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's one of the things that makes our country the paragon that it is today. You can come here, make a lot of money, and then give it to your kids.
Yeah. I just heard a child in the background.
Yes, you did. That's my daughter.
Yeah. So are you also hoping if you are in fact related to James Dolan, you might get a little bit of this inheritance?
I resent that
I'm sorry,
insinuation, Larry. I think that's really out of line.
I mean,
I'm merely a fan of the man's work. I have no hopes of inheritance of my own. Even if I do sometimes spend time outside the garden dressed in my best, it doesn't mean I'm hoping for something like that to happen.
dressed in what? Oh, in your best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put on my favorite fur and I just kind of walk around.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting take. And if you like kids of billionaires and what inheritance can do for you, I guess James Dolan is a great owner.
I agree. He really is. Thanks so much, Larry. And I really hope you'll change your tune about him.
I will think about that over the evening. Thanks for the call, Miranda.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We're going to take another... Yeah, what do you think about that, Alex?
That was so phenomenal.
Yeah.
That had to be a bit.
I don't know. I mean, Miranda Dolan might listen to the show.
Man.
I'm going to take another call. This is another 917 number, 917-306. What's happening? You're on Larry.
Hey, this is Randall from Louisiana.
From Louisiana?
Hello. Yeah. I'm a first-time caller and second-time listener. Anyway, I have a cousin who told me a rumor about something that would change the game in the NBA. He said the NBA is thinking about making 2-pointers worth 3 points. The 3-point line is going to be 4 points, and then free throws are going to be 2 points next year.
That sounds like a game changer for sure. So 2-pointers are going to be 3-pointers.
It would change the game.
That would change the game.
Right.
You'd rewrite the game.
Would it? Well, I want to ask your guest about this rumor. Because my cousin is sometimes full of crap.
Yeah. Alex and Alex has some access to the Knicks and some NBA folks.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to this rumor?
I haven't heard anything.
You haven't heard this?
But that would okay. Not to disparage this too much, but that would be stupid because that completely overvalues free throws. That would essentially be rewarding James Harden for how he plays basketball if you instituted a rule like that. So I don't see that happening.
That's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
No, that would be stupid. I don't see that happening. I feel like we would have heard something about that by now if that was a realistic rule change coming through the pipe. But no Wojs or Shams or anybody has reported that. So
yeah, there's no Woj bomb to that effect.
Yeah, I would not hold your breath for those changes because you might die of suffocation.
Larry, I think this was fake because my cousin's laughing at me right now from the other side of the room.
God. Well, your cousin is fucking full of shit.
Where does your cousin get this info from, buddy?
Yeah,
this is
family. Family.
Yeah,
family.
We need to drag him right now live on air. I think this is some false information.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sounds like you're stuck with your cousin because of coronavirus, so you're probably isolated together, and you're going to just have to put up with lies for the next few months.
Yeah, we inherited my grandmother's house, so we live together.
Okay. Another inheritance seems to be the name of the game tonight.
I need some of that.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
All right. Well, thanks for the call. Please call. Yeah. Oh, do you have something?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say inheritance, kind of like how the bad teams inherit the draft picks. That's basketball related.
How bad teams inherit bad players.
Good draft picks.
Oh, okay.
Good draft
Inherit
picks
good.
next
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. Well, that's a little different. That's rewarding the poor in a way.
Yeah, and it's like addressing
Yeah.
addressing a problem with the market. You know, you have teams that are too good, so you try to inject a little life into the teams that are bad.
Yes, it's draft stimulus.
Mm-hmm. Draft stimulus package, a bailout, a government bailout for the Knicks.
Yep.
They just never seem to get it right.
All right, Larry, I won't lie. I won't lie. I feel like an idiot, but I love the show.
Oh, you're not an
Thanks
idiot.
for everything.
Thank you, and just call back anytime you have a rumor, substantiated or not.
You got it.
All right. Thanks for the call. So those were fun. So let's go back to talking about some Knicks players. We talked about Kadeem, kind of bringing him back. Wooten's an easy one. That's just you keep his two-way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think Kadeem, I would, like I said, sign him to like hopefully a veterans minimum, and then Wooten, you just pick up his two-way because you got a second-year option. That's a no-brainer. That's probably the biggest no-brainer on the roster.
Yeah, for sure. There's like nothing you have to do except exercise that option.
Mm-hmm.
Next two players are trade candidates. Randall, he's guaranteed 19.8 next year. Oh no, sorry, 18. Whatever. It's around 19 million. Then he's one more year where it's guarantee of 4 million and a total unguaranteed comes to 20 million. I think a lot of Knicks fans who in a certain niche group of Knicks fans, people who listen to your show, people who read Posting and Toasting, probably have grown to hate Julius Randle. Would you agree with that?
Oh, there's certainly a contingent.
Yeah. And I mean, if we could trade him, I would love it. I don't know if there's going to be a buyer for him.
No, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if I would trade him for peanuts this offseason. I think there's a real chance because of that non-guaranteed third year that, you want to let him at least start next season on the roster and see if an injection of real coaching can give him some value again. Because I would argue that he was a pretty valuable player for the Pelicans last year. I think he was actually good, and he put up really good efficiency numbers, and it sort of mitigated the defensive shortcomings that he has.
Yeah,
and I think you want to try to get him with a coach that can actually maybe unlock him a little bit. We even saw that with Miller at first, and then Miller sort of either via front office intervention or what, like sort of let Randall fall back into his bad habits again. But right when Miller started coaching, Randall put together that stretch of like 30-plus point games were all mega efficient, and he was passing the ball well and everything else, and it was great. And I fully expected to see more of that. But then it sort of petered off. But, if you get him with a coach, whoever it may be this offseason, just not Mark Jackson, anybody but him.
Yeah.
But if you get him with any coach but Mark Jackson and, kind of give him a chance to redeem his value a little bit, then maybe you've got a valuable trade chip a la Marcus Morris this past trade deadline that you can maybe move around next year's trade deadline.
Yeah. If he's playing like he did in New Orleans, I think he becomes a valuable trade piece.
Yeah, well, because then you could send him to a team then that maybe doesn't necessarily know if they're going to want him, because it's a big offseason in 2021. So you could send him to a team that maybe keeps him as like a contingency plan,
right?
Of most teams, I think know by the time of like the draft, like whether they're going to get free agents or not. By and large, so then if you trade him to a team that's like, oh, we want to sort of keep our options open, but there's a very good chance we might pick this option up if he's the best we can do out of this free agent class. then they might pick that up and then just go into free agency with Julius Randle and just kind of build around him. Some team that doesn't really attract free agents normally.
Yeah. So there's that. I guess a team that's maybe overachieving next year and wants to make a little playoff run. DSJ, Dennis Smith Jr. Seems like anybody who would have wanted him, like the whole Frank versus DSJ feud, those people are all gone from the front office. I have no idea what Leon thinks of him, but yeah, I want to see him just traded or just relegated to the bench.
Yeah, I think he might need a change of scenery real bad.
I think so, yeah. I feel bad for him.
I feel bad for him too, in a way. Everything just kind of aligned badly for him this year. But that said, I still think he has a lot of talent.
He shows it. Yeah.
And if you get him a legitimate shooting coach, not just Keith Smart, who is like a shooting coach, maybe he still has something. I don't know.
Right.
I wouldn't necessarily trade him for a bag of peanuts. If you could do like the Billy Hernan-Gomez special, get the two second-round picks for him or something like that. Those are proven to be pretty valuable now. So maybe I'd, maybe entertain doing that. If you can't get something that or better, though, I'd probably hold on to him again through the trade deadline. Try to get him some run. His value can't possibly get any lower than it is right now. So you only stand to gain by bringing him back and maybe giving him a shot under a different coach that can unlock him better.
And with our new shooting coach, what's his name? It's like
is there actually one already?
Didn't they hire somebody? His name was like Dr. Shooter. I don't know.
I hadn't heard of Dr.
name.
Mr. Shooter, but
I'm forgetting the name. But Dr. Mr. Shooter would be great.
Yeah, I mean,
but it was
like
a real
that guy.
It was a real legit
hire.
coaching. It was a real legit shooting coach who has worked with players and stuff.
Was it Drew Hanlon or whatever, the guy who works with RJ? I don't think they officially hired him though.
I don't think that's who I was thinking of.
I don't think they had made any new hires since Miller had taken over.
Yeah.
They only hired Keith Bogans,
okay.
I think, after Miller took over to be like another assistant to essentially fill the spot that Miller vacated by getting brought up. But they kept and they got rid of Smart too. I think they just ran with a smaller staff after that though, because then they still kept Canales and Bushler and that other guy. I forget the other guy's name.
And the other guy.
That other guy. Yeah. The kind of, like taller looking dude. Oh, and they kept Royal Ivy also. They also kept him.
Oh, okay. He was supposed to get us Kevin Durant.
And he didn't. He just has sly interviews with Rebecca Harlow every once in a while. That's his role.
That's his new role. Cool. Now we get to the last two.
Yep.
Kevin Knox. The decision for Kevin Knox is, I think it's a pretty easy decision, whether or not you pick up his option for next year. And I think you do it. It's $5.8 million.
Yeah, well, so this coming year's option is already picked up.
Right. So, sorry.
So then you're talking about the 2021 to 2022 option.
Yes, correct.
And yes, I would pick that up as well, without a doubt.
I'm still a believer.
I am too, big time. Yeah. I think he showed a lot of improvement towards the end of the year.
Yeah, he was actually moving around on defense, and that shot is just so pretty. It's just sometimes he has it, sometimes he doesn't.
It's a shame it doesn't go in, but it's a very pretty shot. I mean, he's definitely got his mechanics right. He just needs to start hitting with consistency, and then he was blocking shots a lot, which was good. And I think he plays the passing lanes better than he gets credit for.
Defensively.
Yeah, defensively. Yeah. And then on offense, he has great pick and roll chemistry with Mitch. And made some pretty advanced passes off the dribble. So
yeah, he really did. Like him setting up and set up some alley-oops with Mitch. It's a nice thing to see. Last and definitely not least, all of our favorite player, Frank Ntilikina.
Yeah.
His option was picked up. He becomes a restricted free agent. I think I think there'd be a riot if they were to trade him. There's such a contingency of fans. There'd be riots in both directions. You wrote a piece about extending him, giving him a rookie extension for, was it 3 years, about $8 million each year?
If I could, yeah. I mean, I would want to do that.
Yeah.
I would potentially go as high as 10, 11 million for him, if I'm being honest.
I would too. I really think the defense has always been there, and his second to last game of the season was that 2010 game. I'm surprised by how good even though it's not great, but how much his handle has improved. Like, I didn't see him being that type of point guard who can drive. He just doesn't always finish. And the shot has been okay, but he like shows flashes of brilliance.
Yeah. No, I love him. I mean, you know, I would fully try to extend him this offseason, because I think next year he's going to have another leap forward, and we're going to see maybe some more consistency come around on that 3-point shot, more consistency on his finishing, and we're going to start saying, ooh, okay, like this is a guy that we definitely want on the team. Don't let him hit free agency and find a market for himself. Yeah, because he's going to get a big offer. Someone will do it. I mean,
someone will offer him something.
I mean, think about it. Freaking Tim Hardaway Jr. The Knicks offered that huge offer sheet, but even him, like, he was expected to get like, you know, the Knicks came through with that $70 million offer sheet, but he was expected to get at least like 3 for $50 million.
Yeah, like he was more expected to in like the 12 to 15 range.
Yeah,
and then the Knicks came out of nowhere with 18. Yeah,
you know, the Knicks gave him 18 a season, which was, you know, obviously a little bit of an overpay.
Yeah,
but like, you know, you have to overpay for restricted free agents, and teams will know that. So then you're going to get people coming in probably offering like 12, 13, 14 million a year for Frank, potentially over like a 3-year contract. And I really would not be surprised if an offer like that came in. Every single trade deadline we hear about, oh, XYZ team was interested in Frank this year. And there's a reason for it. He's the blueprint for what you want in the NBA right now. He can handle the ball. He can defend all 5 positions. He can pass. He's on his way to being able to shoot.
I mean,
all he needs to do is figure out how to shoot the 3 at 36%. And even if that's all he ever does for his career, he'll be a 15-year NBA player.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I would love to see next year when he drives to the hoop, and he makes some good moves to drive, just to like not be afraid of contact, because he's so much bigger than like almost every guard that's going to be guarding him. And, you know, obviously sometimes there's a pick and roll or whatever, and a center is going to be there inside. But when he's defended by a guard, just like go through them, take the contact, get to the line where he's like almost a 90% shooter. I think, and I never even thought he would be a driver. And I thought, you know, the only way to keep him relevant would be a 3-and-D guy. But the fact that he has that and has shown it a bit, I would love to see him work on that this summer.
Yeah, he's like surprisingly saucy off the dribble now.
Yeah, you know, he's got like those like, you know, doing crossovers and behind the back shit, and
he's got like a really nice hezzy game.
Oh too. Yeah,
like he's deceptively good on the first step. I think he's learned how to use that length that he has well, because he kind of just like lulls the guy to sleep. Like he'll take a couple dribble moves, and then all of a sudden he's just like bam, like he's gone. And he'll get by that first line of defense, and now like the real thing is getting into the paint and finishing either through contact or around, you know, potential defenders. If guys defend him clean, you know, learning to use those freakish, like, you know, 3.5 foot long arms, and, you know, contort and get something up there that is going in more often than not. But
yeah, I
mean, that was another underrated thing other than the 20-10 game. His last game of the season, he wasn't quite as good. But, you know, it's still, he got to the line, I think, 6 times that game.
Yeah, he was like 1 for 7 from the field or something. And then, but he was
like 5 to 6 from the line or something. And they were all organic too. It wasn't like in the 20-point game, he shot 5 to 6 from the free throw line, but 2 of them were on technicals.
One of which he missed, I think.
Yeah. But then the last game, they were all off layup attempts. I think he got 3 separate layup attempt foul draws. And I mean, if he can average 5-6 free throw attempts per game, that's huge. That's really good production.
He'll be a double-digit scorer for sure if he does that.
Yeah. Some point sooner than later.
Yeah. Okay, so we love Frank, unanimous.
Keep him, extend him, make him
the franchise player, whatever you got to do.
Yep.
The franchise.
The franchise.
Yeah. So you're getting ready. You've been doing live streams on Twitch for for NBA 2K of what the Knicks games would be going into the rest of the season. How's that going?
It's been pretty fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. It's just something to do to pass the time. I mean, we go on. It's been me and John Schulman of PNC go on, and we'll play. And then sometimes we get James Marcita on there, former host of Locked On Knicks.
Yeah, never heard of him.
Never. You actually have a legendary James impression that I'd love to hear again.
Yeah. Well, that's a kind of a mistake that was an impression of him. I think that's his narcissism going on there. But but if I were to do a James, I'm your host, James Marcita. Don't forget to salt the pasta water. Nah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah,
I liked it. But he'll do the commentary or Schwinny Poo, or whoever we can get on any given time. It's been a good time. I mean, it's not anything huge, top out at maybe 20 something viewers, but it's been a good time. I just like playing NBA 2K, so it's a good excuse for me to hog the TV for a little while.
It's like, there's definitely a void right now in the sports world, and I don't consider esports sports, but it's entertaining. People love it. It's something.
Yeah,
it's
people love Twitch, man. I had never really been into it either, but I'm cool with streaming it because I like playing the games. I'm not a huge Twitch watcher personally. Right. I think some people are Twitch streamers and some people are Twitch watchers. You know what I mean? Yep. It's the kids love it. Yeah. All right, Alex. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. Anything you'd like to plug? Just my usual. I'm on Twitter at the Alex Wolfe. Locked on Knicks. We're still doing podcasts. We got some stuff coming out. So that's on any place you get podcasts, pretty much. And at Locked on Knicks on Twitter. You can check out Posting and Toasting at PT Knicks blog. We still have content coming out there, and obviously the live streams. And then Knicks SI. We have some creative stuff coming out still, throughout this. I'm actually, the topic of our show, I'm writing some kind of in-depth pieces about some of these guys and whether I want to keep or cut them in the offseason for all the player option and free agent guys. So those I'll be coming out with in a series over the next few weeks. I started this past weekend with Kadeem Allen and Kenny Wooten. So got that. And they're at Knicks SI on Twitter or allknicks.com. So you can check those out too. But nice. So that's my laundry list. So definitely check that out on knickssi.com. Just forget everything you heard from him today, so it's all new to you. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm gonna dive into some stats and stuff, some stuff that's a little more in depth, hopefully. A little more X's and O's. Yeah, the general opinions will hold true though. Yeah. No waffling here. No, yeah. Well, I'm holding you to anything you said today. All right, good. Yeah, please do. I need somebody to. Yeah, so. Yeah. I hold a lot of people accountable. They rely on me for that. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Please follow me on Twitter or Instagram, any social media thing at Larry the Athlete. Subscribe to this podcast if you like what you're listening to, or subscribe to YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. You know the drill. Good night, everybody. Good night, Alex. Bye.